know you guys can hear me well. Yeah, okay, great. So thank you guys for coming, signing up and logging in for this cooking demo in this lovely Friday evening. My name is Regina. I am a second-year graduate student from the Nutrition, Food Science, and Packaging Department at San Jose State. I'm here with a group of other San Jose State students, and we're all part of the community nutrition class. And so that's what brings us here today with you guys from the TImpany Center. We're just glad we're able to do something with the community and still somehow engage, even though it's been such a weird and challenging year for everyone. We now are in this pandemic Zoom world, so thank you guys all for coming. And with these elections mixed in this week, it's been hectic. So hopefully this moment we can just all not think about that and talk about food and the upcoming holidays. And yeah, I'm ready. I'm really excited to share this recipe with you all. Yeah, so now I have this cook demo set up from 4 to 5. I don't know if it's gonna go on for that long. I don't expect it to. It's a very quick and fun recipe. And then also this thing is being recorded. So as long as once this is done, hopefully we can share this all to everyone, to even more people, to your family and friends. So this recipe, I find it very fitting because Thanksgiving is coming up and it utilizes all your Thanksgiving leftovers, essentially. So usually we have leftover mashed potatoes, leftover slices of turkey, cranberry sauce, and this recipe will use it all in a very fun, very filling kind of way. So I'm going to, before I start my demo, just share my screen with you, and so we can look at the recipe together. Hopefully you guys have a copy of the recipe as well, and if not, we can always send that to you afterwards. I'm going to share my screen, if I know how to do that. Let's see. Perfect. So do you guys see my shared screen here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So it's a mashed potato waffle, crispy turkey, cranberry brie melt. And if you look over here, we have the nutrition facts of all the major micro macronutrients it provides. Just a note here that the calories of 708 does not include the optional ingredients of the turkey bacon and fried egg. If you were to add that, that does add a couple more calories. Let me click into my notes here. So adding those two ingredients will add about 130 more calories to that, especially in the fats area. So we want to make this recipe as heart healthy as possible. So if you do add those ingredients, we recommend you add turkey bacon rather than the pork bacon. It is roughly 25% fewer calories than the pork bacon and 35% less fat as well. And then the fried egg cooked in a light oil will provide an additional 6 grams of protein and then 5 grams of fat. So just FYI. And then for this demo, I am going to add those added ingredients. I'm going to use turkey bacon and I'm going to use a fried egg just because I think those two added with everything else really makes it a perfect next day Thanksgiving brunch. So the egg and the bacon, you get that taste of breakfast, but then you also have the avocado and the turkey. And all of that is just very filling. It's going to fill you up well into dinner time. In my opinion, I've tried it a few times already. So I think it's perfect way to utilize all your Thanksgiving leftovers. And then it's going to fill you up for breakfast and lunch, I think. It should. All the fat, the fat will keep you full too. So definitely don't recommend you try this recipe every day. But it is really delicious and it's a perfect way to use all your leftover Thanksgiving leftovers. Okay, so moving on, we're gonna start with making the mashed potato waffle. I think that was the most unique way of using the mashed potatoes. So we're gonna start with doing that. We have the leftover mashed potatoes, buttermilk, eggs, sage, flour, baking soda, baking powder, and then grated Parmesan cheese. And then from there, we're just gonna build our sandwich. All you need is some leftover turkey, some leftover cranberry sauce, avocado, and then slices of brie. And then honestly, you can add or take away whatever you don't care for, and then add whatever you do love. So this recipe is very customizable too. But I do love all these things, so I'm gonna add them all, and it's delicious. So without further ado, I'm gonna stop sharing now, and then we're gonna begin. So the first thing I'm gonna do is actually take out my waffle iron. It takes a while for that to heat up. So you guys can see that, right? So before I get started, I want that to get going already. And everyone has probably a different kind of waffle iron. This is how mine works. As soon as the button here, and if you see that turns green, that means it's ready for waffles. So that's gonna take some time. While that's going on, I'm gonna grab my bowl here. I'm gonna start with the leftover mashed potatoes. So here I already portioned out perfectly. These are the mashed potatoes. It's about 1.5 cups, I believe, to make this recipe. But I also think it depends on the kind of waffles you're making. The waffle maker I have is a little bit thinner kind of waffles, and I actually made about 8 large waffles from this amount of mashed potatoes. So I had a little bit more waffle than I had the rest of the sandwich, but that's not much of a problem. It's really good too on its own. And you can use it for something else or another snack. But these are my mashed potatoes. I'm gonna put that in a bowl.
I have a question, Regina. What would you think about using sweet potatoes? If you had mashed sweet potatoes, would that work?
You know, I've never tried it with sweet potatoes. But what I did try is different textures of mashed potatoes. So the first time I did this was a more rustic, chunky, with some of the skins on there. And I was wondering if that would maybe alter the waffle texture, but it really didn't. This one here is a very smooth, velvety kind of mashed potato. So at least that I know. I'm not sure about the sweet potato part. That's an interesting question. I would try that though. I don't think it can go wrong. It tastes really good.
Have you tried it, Professor Kubota?
I have not, but I don't know why sweet potatoes just popped into my head. And I usually do sweet potatoes instead of regular potatoes at Thanksgiving. So I was wondering, how would that be? I think that would be delicious, though. The other thought that went through my head as I'm watching this is pumpkin. Oh my gosh, I wonder if pumpkin would work.
I'm like, I should have had the recipe in front of me too, because I'm like wondering what do I put next, but that's okay. I'm putting all of these in there anyway. So I'm going to next do the buttermilk. So I'm going to do a cup of buttermilk in here. I've never really used buttermilk before. I guess I'm not familiar with it. So I kind of looked it up and see what exactly is buttermilk. I was always afraid of the word because butter and milk, it just sounds very fatty, but it's not. There's no butter in buttermilk. And it's actually less fat than whole milk. It's just milk with lactic acid in it. And so it's a little bit more acidic and more sour than regular milk. And that's used as a leavening for baking usually. And it's usually accompanied with baking soda, which I do have. Okay, so we have the buttermilk, and then I'm also gonna throw in some eggs in there, 2 eggs.
So if you didn't have buttermilk though, and you wanted to make this, you could use regular milk and then just put in a splash of vinegar. So for every cup of milk that you use, you'd add like a teaspoon of white vinegar or cider vinegar, and you'd get that acidity that you're getting from the buttermilk.
Perfect, I did not know that. Okay, so I have the eggs, and then I'm gonna add, my butter next. Melted some butter earlier. I'm gonna throw that in there. And then I will put in, I'm gonna mix this up now before I add my sage. Okay, it's coming along. And then I'm gonna go get my sage All you need is about 4 or 5 leaves of them. So I'm going to take a few. Does anyone know how to keep sage? Because I just bought this from the store and they're kind of wilted already. So I didn't know how to keep them. I don't know if it should be in water, keep them alive.
So I would wrap them in a damp, not even damp, just barely damp paper towel and put them in a Ziploc container or a Ziploc bag and put them in the fridge. You know, this time of year buying sage, because it's Thanksgiving and you might be using it for all your Thanksgiving recipes, is kind of fun. But if you don't find fresh, you can always buy dried sage as well.
That's true. I had a hard time finding the dried herbs, but it does call for fresh herbs in this recipe. Okay, so like any flat leaf herb, this is how I do it. I stack them on top of each other, and then I kind of just roll it up. I'm gonna grab my knife. This is how we mince our flat leaf herb.
Sage is really classic pairing with poultry, especially with turkey and Thanksgiving. But if you didn't have it, maybe you could throw in some thyme, or is there another herb you'd recommend, Regina?
I'm not even familiar with sage as much. I don't really use it, but it smells really good. And I do get that thyme kind of smell in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think thyme is a good one. I don't have any other recommendations. I don't use it as much.
Maybe rosemary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I know rosemary goes well with pork too, yeah. So I'm gonna throw that in there. Whisk it again. And I just wanna make sure I am adding everything in the right order. Now, I'm going to throw in my flour. Flour, baking soda, which I have prepared here. And again, it's for leavening, like the buttermilk. And then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of baking powder. So it says just to mix it just until combined. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm also going to add my baking powder now. A teaspoon. And then the last thing that this needs is grated Parmesan cheese. And so you're just gonna fold that in at the end. Okay, ready for my Parmesan. And so, like I said, this depends on your waffle maker, how much waffles you're gonna end up with. I ended up with a lot. But you could always invent another sandwich with them. Okay. So there is my mashed potatoes, and it's ready to go into my waffle iron. I try to clean as I go in the kitchen. That's what my mom always says. But sometimes, especially in the live Zoom, I get caught up and it's probably gonna be messy. Okay, so you guys see my waffle iron? You do, okay. Sorry, had to fix my other camera. I am now gonna pour in some waffle in there. Oh, lightly spray it first, don't want it to stick. Now I've made this recipe already a few times, and usually the first waffle is not the best waffle. So I don't know why that is, but you always wanna, kind of just wanna feel out for, you know, how much to put in there, and maybe just get the waffle iron going. But it's not all, we'll see how this one turns out though. So maybe I'll add a little bit more. I'm just gonna put it in the middle.
I have that same waffle maker, and usually for me, about half a cup of waffle mixture is perfect.
Okay, hopefully that will be decent enough.
Deb says the first one is for the cook to taste test.
That's true. So I'm gonna set that aside now. We're gonna wait for that. And then I'm gonna get ready for our sandwich filling. that was the waffle part, which was one of my favorite parts, honestly. See, I'm cleaning as I go. My mom will be proud. Okay, so I'm gonna swap that. And now slide this over. Oops. So as you can see, I have my leftover turkey here. I have some smashed avocado already. I just got half an avocado, used a spoon really and just smashed it up. I added a little bit of lemon in there, squeezed some lemon juice just to keep it nice and green. My slices of brie, and then it says apricot, but it's not. It is cranberry sauce. I just like to use my jars over and over. And then turkey bacon at the end. Those are all the ingredients. And then at the end, of course, it calls for putting it in the oven at 425 degrees for 4 to 5 minutes. At that time is a good time to cook your fried egg if you choose to put that in there at the end. So it looks like my waffle is ready. That is a good size because I find that the whole thing is too large. So this is a good size. And you kind of want to let it breathe for a little. It's very hot, it's very soft. Whoop. And then we can try it again too. If this one's too soft, I might just put in another one and see which one might be better for our demo today. Just for fun, I'm gonna throw another one in there. Hopefully everyone is still able to spend Thanksgiving with close family and friends while taking safety precautions, of course. But it's gonna be such a weird holiday for me too. I have a big family and it's just gonna be so different. But that's okay. That's what we have Zoom for. Okay. So you definitely want to let the waffle cool down a little bit before you start adding all your toppings. Now is the time to preheat your oven at 425 degrees. And then you want to just get all your ingredients ready for your sandwich making.
So for the students here, what's the term for getting all of your ingredients ready? Damien? Deb?
I can't remember.
Mise en place. Mise en place. So the term,
What is it?
the culinary term, it's a French term actually, mise en place, and it means everything in its place, and it just makes things easier if you get everything ready. So pull out all your ingredients, make sure you have everything, get your equipment ready, and it's used in professional kitchens, but I think home kitchens, it makes cooking less stressful if you practice putting everything in its place. So it's nice for cooking demos like this. You have to have your mise en place together in order for the demo to go ready, but it's actually fun. It makes cooking, I think, much more enjoyable when you have your ingredients. So just think mise en place.
Definitely. Mise en place?
Mise en place. It's a French term. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Perfect. So now I got a few waffles here, bacon, and I love how you could see the sage in there a little bit. You know, it's like a savory waffle. And then I don't know where my knife went. There it is. So yeah, my waffle maker, it really just depends on how you want to make your sandwich. I've tried it just making halves, and so half is one sandwich. I've also made it in fourths, so it's kind of more manageable that way. I don't feel as full if I cut them in fourths and have little waffle sliders. And also, if you don't have a waffle iron, that's totally fine. I mean, I think I can see the sandwich being in between some nice Hawaiian rolls or whatever kind of bread you like, and then just have your mashed potatoes on the side. I still think that would not be a problem.
I think you could actually cook this off as a pancake as well. So if you didn't have a waffle maker, you could cook this in a skillet, just like you do pancakes. Very similar. Most pancake and waffle recipes are pretty interchangeable, and this one looks like it would be too.
A mashed potato pancake. That's not bad. Okay. So yeah, I just cut them in fours just to show you, but I'm gonna set this one up. So what I'm gonna do first is cover it up in avocado, my mashed avocados. I personally love avocados on anything. They're very high in potassium, and which is a good thing. A lot of people don't actually get the recommended intake of potassium for some reason, and it has more potassium than bananas. And if you are someone who takes a lot of sodium in, potassium actually does a counter effects of sodium in your body. So sodium is known to increase blood pressure, while potassium tends to lower it. So definitely get your potassium in there. And then it's also really high in fiber. It's one of the most fruit that's really high in fiber, surprisingly, because not a lot of fruits are.
Avocado is a fruit. We eat it as a vegetable, but it's technically a fruit, yes.
I remember the seed, so I know it's a fruit. And by the way, it is called for a half an avocado in this recipe. Just so you know, make sure you get the half without the seed, because you want to preserve the one that contains the seed more. The seed actually helps preserve the avocado more. And so always take the half that you're going to use, the one without the seed. FYI. My dog is hungry also. Sorry about that. I have to hear her whining. So I have my brie here. What goes next is the turkey. I'm sorry. Okay, I have to give her a waffle. There you are. Gotta make her happy. So this is my turkey slices. So obviously Thanksgiving isn't here yet, but I was able to get this at the grocery store actually. They had prepared huge turkey breasts already that were seasoned and everything, and it's actually really good. And I did not know that they had that. Also, skinless reduces the fat of your turkey. So this is turkey breast, skinless, which is what we're going for. Less unnecessary fats. Avocado is the good fats. So I'm just trying to dress it up a little bit nicer for you guys. And then it needs a dollop of cranberry sauce. Cranberry sauce, a little bit high in sugar there, but the salty and the sweet in this sandwich is just really good. And I think the cranberries add the sweetness to it. A little bit more. Okay, and then now is the time to add your turkey bacon if you are going to go for that. And I will just leave a couple of slices on top, just like that. And so you're gonna put this along with the other side of your waffle into the oven for, again, 425 degrees, 4 to 5 minutes only. You want to watch out for the brie because it might, melt a lot. So just watch out for that. 4 to 5 minutes should be enough to get everything warm and melted and crispy. And then this is what's going to look like at the end. I mean, the same, but crispier. You can see that. That is your next day Thanksgiving brunch. And I think it looks really delicious. And then just top it off. So you could close it off as a sandwich, or if you don't want to feel too full, you want to do a little bit more in your day, you could always leave it open faced, which is what I actually did on my second go around of this recipe. I left it open faced like this. Obviously it requires a fork and a knife, but it's still really good, and it's a little bit less carbs that way too. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is my first time Sorry, my dog is being really annoying. But do you guys have any other questions? Do you guys need a copy of the recipe? Let me know.
Great job, Regina.
Thank you.
So it also seems that you can just use if you don't have mashed potatoes left, you can just use regular bread, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
said, I see this going with Hawaiian rolls too. Make it a
Mhm.
little smaller. Really any kind of bread if you don't have
Okay.
mashed potatoes or a waffle iron.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably be trying that too.
I've actually seen the mashed potatoes added into the sandwich as part of a
Oh
leftover
wow.
mashed potato sandwich. Yeah, with turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, a little bit of gravy on a Hawaiian roll is delicious. But I'm going to try the pancakes here. I think that looks delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had a sandwich like that, so probably be trying that this Thanksgiving.
I see. I don't know. Tu, you raised your hand earlier. I don't know if you had something to say. No.
Tu and Mary, you are probably our TImpany Center guests. Any questions or comments? You can have a question unrelated to this, maybe just general nutrition questions you'd like to ask the nutrition students. You can put them in the chat as well. Tu said, thank you. It looks good. Thank you, Tu. Thank you for joining us. Mary, any comments or questions we can answer?
Oh, here, by the way, is my fried egg that I was going to add at the end.
Ooh.
I had it ready, and I was like, oh, I'm done.
You can still add it in.
Add it in. It's not too late. So this definitely requires a fork and a knife. We're going to add everything in there.
Regina, I think it looks fabulous. I know that Damien is planning to do another demo next week. What are you planning to do, Damien?
It's gonna be a sweet potato kale salad with I believe chickpeas.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that.
It's a good balance to what I'm making today. I know this one's a little bit heavier, but there's so many different ways to use the fall ingredients and make it a little bit lighter too. So that sounds like a really good salad. Can't wait to try it out.
Mm.
Oh,
Looks really good.
thank you. If that is all, hopefully I can send this recording out to Dr. Jen, and then she can send it out to all the participants and then share it. Feel free to share it with your family and friends. Hopefully you guys can also make it to the next cooking demo, which again is a week from now on Friday, same time, 4 o'clock with Damien. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is the first time we've done this, so let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. That's all. I'm gonna let you guys go. I know it's been a long week, so enjoy the rest of your Friday.
You too. Thank you, Regina.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.